All right. So a couple different things that I'm going to kind of be implementing. So we all know that sometimes I'm like crazy airhead and I forget things when things are sent to me. And I think that's easy for all of us to do just because with customers and team and personal messages, our messages get bombarded, our email gets bombarded. So, I follow Kim Roylance's team page, and whenever there are any issues like missing orders or back orders or basically anybody needs anything, she posts a Google form for you guys to complete. And I think it'd be a lot easier just to have that kind of compiled into a Google sheet. So as I submit it to Elite Services, I can give you guys feedback and I can kind of keep track of where I am. So that way things don't fall through the cracks. So for anybody who's watching this back and recording too, please do not be offended if you message me and you're like, hey, I wanted to message you about this thing or this back ordered thing, and I send you the link to the Google form. It's just because I don't want to forget about any of your issues because they're important and I want to make sure that they get addressed to the full. So you will see the Google form posted as of tomorrow. We had our coaches call tonight, and I'm not sure like what kind of announcements they're going to make, but Deanne was very adamant about getting everybody on the call tomorrow and saying, it maxes out at 10,000 people, so getting on 5 or 10 minutes early. There's going to be some announcements, so she was urging everybody to get on that call tomorrow. So make the webinar a priority tomorrow if you don't usually get on them every Tuesday. And then we talked today about 6 of the biggest books that LuLaRoe recommends, and I'm going to pull those up really fast. So there are 6 books that LuLaRoe talks about quite commonly. The first one is If You Can Count to 4. So I've got an image of each of these books, and I'm going to post them on the team page. Before the team got so big, there was a point in time where I ordered Excuse Me, Your Life is Waiting, The Go-Giver, The Power of TED, a couple of others. And I sent everybody a book, and I was hoping that people would pass those around. I don't think that ever happened, but a bunch of these books I don't own, I would love to read. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to post the cover of all 6 of the books on the team page, and whoever says that they want that book, I'm going to ship it to them. So we're going to have 6 books that I'm going to order, and then whoever wants to read that book next can just put next. And then that way, say Jamie says that she wants to read If You Can Count to 4. This is one that Deanne was talking about today. If Brandy writes next on that one, then once Jamie's done with it, she's going to send it to Brandy. So that way we can kind of all share this database of books. So it's If You Can Count to 4, Simon Sinek, Start with Why. I'm going to do Leadership and Self-Deception. The Power of TED, of course. The Go-Giver, of course, which this is my favorite, and The Outward Mindset. So I'm going to say those again. So we're going to do If You Can Count to 4, Start with Why, Leadership and Self-Deception, Go-Giver, The Power of TED, and Outward Mindset. So I'm going to post all these on the team page, so that way you guys can sign up to get them. And then we can just kind of pass them around. I already have a copy of maybe 3 of them, so I might be able to send out more than one at a time. But I thought that that'd be a good idea for us to kind of not have to go purchase all these books, but still be able to benefit from them. All right, so I feel bad because Brandy was at, oh, Michaela already has Power of TED. Brandy was at Inspire. Nicole was at Inspire. Elizabeth's husband was at Inspire. And so I feel like the talk that I was going to do, it was inventory management and kind of the stuff that I spoke about at Inspire. And a lot of you, like Jamie and Brandy and Rachel, and Nicole have been doing the business for a bit. So to tell you guys how to do your money is kind of hard too. So I hope people will be watching this on the recording. But so I wanted to talk about different types of bank accounts that I've heard recommended through the time that I've been doing LuLaRoe. So one of them is Navy Federal, if you guys have that connection, and then PNC. So I always talk about PNC. You guys may have a bank where you're able to do the same thing, but when I listened to Danielle Fewing's YouTube video, she basically said the same thing as kind of what I do. So she has multiple accounts. She's actually got an account for her deposits. So the money comes into a deposit account. She has an account for her business expenses. She has an account for her inventory, to order inventory. She has an account for taxes. And last but not least, she has an account for her profit. So her kind of like liquid funds. So I don't have 5 different accounts. I kind of do it a little bit differently. I have a deposit account, and then I have an account for my savings. And the deposit account, when it comes into there, becomes my inventory account. So this is what I do. Every single day that I get a deposit from LuLaRoe, okay, so we're just going to use $100. So say tomorrow, I wake up tomorrow morning and I have $100 deposit from LuLaRoe from my orders that I processed a couple of days ago. Automatically, 50% stays in that account. So what she does is she transfers 50% to her inventory account, all right? So we always talk about that the least you need to be doing is taking half of your money that you're getting coming in and putting that aside to replace the inventory that you're selling, because you want to keep your inventory numbers stable. So money comes in automatically, 50%, I don't even look at that. It just goes into that account to buy more inventory. She does 10%. So she has, her rule is called the 50, 5, 10, 35 rule. So 50, 5, 10, 35 rule. So the 50% goes to inventory. The 5% goes to her business expense account. The 10% goes to her tax account. And the 35% goes to her like profit account, okay? So if she's taking 10%, this is the question everybody asked about on her YouTube video. If she's taking 10% off of the gross payment that she's getting from LuLaRoe, she's putting 20% of her net aside for taxes, all right? So if she were just to take her 50% profit, she'd be putting 20% aside. It's going to equal the same math. But she just does 10% off the top. When I went to my accountant, they said to do 15, so that way I was doing 30 off of the net. So it really depends on what your CPA tells you. So that is kind of a little bit iffy. I would base that on your own taxing situation. But she is a mentor, and she's been doing this all along and hasn't had any issues with not having enough money to pay taxes. So last year I was building my business since I started in October. So I didn't owe anything. You know, I still got a pretty good a refund back last year. So this will be my first year with a year of all basically profits to be able to give you guys some feedback on that, which I'll be glad to do once we get to that point. I've actually got my pre-tax appointment with my CPA tomorrow. But so my rule is actually 15, not 10. But I'm going to keep going with her. So 50 for your inventory, 5 into the business expense account, 10% into the tax account, and then 35. So when I did it, I just did 30% into that profit account. So because I don't have as many accounts, I just left the 50% in that deposit account to purchase my inventory. And if it wasn't in there, then I can't purchase inventory, okay? I also leave my 5% business expenses in there. So basically the only thing that I buy from that checking account is shipping. I will make sure that I have enough money in there for polys, those types of things. So I leave my business expenses and my inventory money in that account. That's what I have to spend. If it's not there, I don't have it to spend. I had the separate account for my savings. And then I took my 30 or my 35% and I transferred it to my home account, right? Because if that's my money, if that's my paycheck, that's my profit, I just take it right on out of there and put it into our family account. Now, when it comes to when you're first starting out, that 35% is probably not going to be transferred right into your personal account, right? Because in your first 90 days, what are you going to be wanting to do? You're going to be wanting to pay yourself back, and you're going to be wanting to build your inventory. So if you're taking 50% to replace the inventory that you've sold, 5% to your business expenses, 10% to your taxes, you have 35% remaining to start to pay yourself back or to build your inventory. There are many people who do need to take some type of a salary when they first start. I always refer to somebody on our team who quit her full-time job right before she started LuLaRoe. And if she didn't take that money, she didn't have food to put on the table, right? I was in a lucky enough situation that because I had a full-time salary, I didn't have to take that money to put food on my table. I was able to reinvest it back into my inventory or to pay myself back. So I turned around and took that 35% and just kept building my inventory back really quickly. Then once I got my numbers to where I wanted it to be, I started to pay myself back. Some people will break that up. So if you do have to take money, but you just need a little bit, you know, they might do 10% to pay themselves back, and they take that 10% and directly pay their credit card or whatever they use to, or their loan, or their family or friends who help them, you know, to buy that onboarding package. Then they take 10%. So instead of they sold 25, they're going to buy 33 pieces. They're going to take that 10% to build their inventory. And then they might take 10% because they need that because they weren't able to pay the water bill last month and now they can with their LuLaRoe money. Okay. So during your first 90 days, it's going to be most optimal to not pay yourself, to use that 35% to pay off your initial investment and to build your inventory. But if you have to, it's there. Some people will do 20% to buy their new inventory to build those numbers, and then 15% to pay back their investment. So again, it doesn't matter how you break that up. That's personal preference, but that's where that money in the first 90 days is going to be taken to build that inventory. Because people are like, well, how do I build it with that 35%? Really trying to not pay yourself back in those first 90 days, or to pay yourself a paycheck really in those first 90 days is extremely helpful in building your numbers. So does anybody have questions about that? So the reason why I was saying PNC. So the really cool thing about PNC is you've got like a whole bunch of accounts in one. So you've got a spend account, and that's your checking account. And then you've got a reserve account. So Nicole knows that we were Dave Ramsey people, and all of my money is deposited into my checking account. But then in my reserve account, I would put a whole bunch of teeny tiny little accounts. So they don't actually break into different accounts with PNC, but you can click on the reserve account and title one little savings, you know, it was basically like a short-term savings account. And so I could put dog food, $60, right? And I knew the dog food that I had for the month. Once I was ready to spend it, you just click, you know, add it to your spend account, and it would go into my checking account.
Michelle, is that a checking account or a savings, or is it a business?
It's called PNC Virtual Wallet. So I have the
personal then? It's not a business account?
That's my personal account.
Okay.
But I'm sure that you can get a virtual wallet business account. But so it's got the checking, the reserve, and growth. So the checking account is called spend. The short-term savings account is called reserve. And then your actual savings account is called growth. So the reserve, though, it's not like a savings account where you get penalized for moving money around, or you only have a certain amount of withdrawals per month. It's actually meant to just use, like, say you're saving up for a Christmas gift. You just throw it in that reserve account, and then once you reach your goal, you click send it over to checking. So I could say, our public works and public utility, we paid every 2 months, right? So I put money in there every month with Dave Ramsey, even though that bill's not due. So I would have under my reserve account a special little thing for public works, public utility. My goal would be, $220, and I would put $110 in each month. So every single thing that was on our Dave Ramsey budget went into that reserve account. So I had 20 different listings under the reserve, even like I said, if it was something as stupid as dog food, right? So I like that we could do that, because you could put that reserve account and you could put business expenses, 5%, whatever you want that to be, you could put that into that little piece. Then you could take your 10% taxes and put that there. I'd probably put it in my growth and in my actual savings account, since it's going to be there for the whole year, because you do get a little bit of interest in that with PNC. And then you could do your, so you can kind of break it up as much as you want, as detailed as you want to be. Now, Danielle Fewings, I think, recommended Navy Federal, because you can have up to like 7 accounts or something, and it's all tied to your one account. But you can separate it all out into up to 7 accounts, I think. If anybody has Navy Federal and wants to correct me, I can't remember if it was 5 or 7, but I know she said that she has 5 of her own. And she logs into her account, boom, all 5 come up. And so she's very easily able to transfer between the accounts to keep all of that money separate. So all kind of good options to be able to keep the money straight so that you can see it kind of separately. Questions, concerns? Anybody else have feedback about accounts that have worked really well for them? I know Amanda Weinset, when we met together at Panera, when we were doing our little coffee chats here locally, once I said that, she was like, I don't know why I never thought to every single deposit that comes in just to disperse it like that. Because, at Inspire, I said, Dave Ramsey tells us, don't worry, don't wonder where your money went. You need to tell it where to go. And I think that that's the thing that I did with LuLaRoe in the beginning is I was ordering inventory, but I wasn't this smart when I'm not that smart now, but I wasn't this smart when I first started with the money. I did wonder where it went. Like, holy cow, why are we really making money, Josh? And so this is a much easier way for me to be able to see that and control the money. So every single day I wake up, it takes me 60 seconds. I look and see what deposits come in, and then I immediately transfer the savings over, leave the 50% there, transfer my profit out, boom, I'm done for the day. I know that I'm not going to overspend on inventory or business expenses. All right, questions, concerns?
Sorry, Michelle, we're wrangling with a hurt puppy right now, but Capital One 360 is another good option for anyone that needs an account. Capital One acquired that from ING Direct, so it's a free online account. You do get a debit card. You do have the ability to write checks. You can get checkbook and all that stuff. You can transfer in and out. They've got a really functional app and online website for it as well. And there are no minimums, which is a nice thing. So you don't have to worry about keeping a certain amount in there. But biased, they pay part of my paycheck, but it's a really solid bank. So that's another good one if you're looking for something easy. And if you do have a Capital One branch or a cafe, they're starting to expand those around nearby. You can actually go in and get that serviced in any branch or cafe that's close by.
I agree that they're really good. They also offer excellent customer service.
Yes.
And then, well, when I went to leadership, I have a Capital One 360 account, and I actually lost my check card. And so they overnighted it to the hotel in California for me. And I was able to pick it up like right there at the hotel front desk, free of charge for overnighting it, because they kind of like said, what's the deal? Like, they were just really nice. I think I told you before about somebody swiped my card in Texas at a gas station. And I know that was MasterCard, not necessarily Capital One, but never with any other bank have I ever had Visa or MasterCard pick up on stuff that's been as small as Capital One 360 is caught onto, to be able to just block it and shut it down.
That's actually the bank. The Visa and MasterCard check that and send that info to the bank. But the banks themselves put the fraud rules in that would flag that and have them reach out to you.
Yeah.
I know a lot of the folks that actually service those cards, and they're good people. Yeah,
I've been happy with them as well. I don't think that they have the option to, what I didn't say is PNC I use for my personal. So I use all the reserve account, like I was saying, for all of my Dave Ramsey stuff and our home finances. My business stuff, I actually use Capital One 360. And so that's why I was saying I transfer the taxes to the savings. I transfer my profit to PNC, so I just transfer it externally. And then in my Capital One 360 checking, that's where I leave my inventory and my business expenses. And I use my Capital 360 check card to pay for everything. And then I have, of course, my checking account hooked up for ACH for, mylularoe.com. So yeah, so Capital One 360 is also a really good one. But I don't think you have the option of doing the multiple accounts if you wanted to be able to see the money all separated. Now, granted, they might allow you to open multiple checking accounts for free. I don't know. I do know that the Navy Federal one, it's like 7 accounts in one. So it's not actually like 7 different checking accounts.
I don't think they tier it like that. I don't think that's an option, but you can open at least 1 checking and savings per person. So you could actually have multiple accounts. Mm-hmm. And they do have instant transfer. So like, I've got a savings account and a checking account. We have a Capital One retail, like regular brick and mortar type checking account. And I can, on my app, transfer money and it goes instantly. So you don't have to wait a business day or anything for it to go if it's within Capital One or Capital One 360. So, but the ability to section out your accounts like that is pretty stellar. That's really helpful.
Yeah. Awesome. Anybody else?
Yeah. Hey, I had a question. Can you hear me? Mm-hmm. Okay. So, what do you do with your bonus check? Does that just go straight into your personal fund? That doesn't get distributed? You don't put any away for taxes?
I do. So I take 15% of each payment from LuLaRoe for taxes for my sales, for like my Audrey deposits. My CPA recommended that I do 20% of my bonus check. So what I do is I deposit it into my personal account. And then I transfer the 20% for savings to my Capital One 360 savings account where all of my other tax money goes. So I keep my tax money all in one account, whether it be for meals or for my bonus checks, because at the end of the year, it's all just sitting there for me to pull out that money for taxes. But yeah, I do 20% of my bonus checks.
Okay.
All right. Anybody else? Okie doke. So you guys can chime in, please, as we're talking about this too. So I'm gonna share my screen. I know that Elizabeth, hold on a second, is gonna be building her business. And I think Michaela, you're still building your numbers, so this will be helpful for you too. But our group sale has sold 48 items so far. All right, where are we at? Okay. Turn off my video. So I don't even remember what I said at Inspire anymore, to tell you the truth, and I lost my notes. So we were talking about what style should you carry, okay? So number one, you need to carry what you love, right? Because if you are posting about it, you're taking pictures of yourself in it, you are putting it online, you are raving about it, you are grabbing it off the shelf to give somebody else because you love it, and you're at a pop-up and you're saying, oh my gosh, you have to try this, it makes everybody look great, then you need to carry that, right? I don't really sell many Nicoles. I can't wear a Nicole and I can't wear an Anna. It just doesn't work for me. Now, I'm not going to love every single style of LuLaRoe carries, that LuLaRoe carries. It doesn't necessarily mean that I shouldn't carry them. If it's a big seller and I don't like it, I'm probably still going to carry it. And I might even fall in love with it, like the Perfect Tee. But if it's something that you do not feel comfortable in grabbing off of the shelf and giving somebody permission to wear, or you don't feel like you are comfortable or experienced enough to help them with accessorizing it or styling it, probably stay away from that one. So of course we know that we have a new onboarding package, by the way, so everybody check their email if you have anybody in the queue. They just sent it about 10 minutes ago. So of course LuLaRoe picks out the stuff that's going to help ensure our success when we first start. But after that, we're going to start to build onto our inventory. And so, you know, you're going to get to pick and choose what styles you want to carry. So speaking of which, when you are ordering and starting to add styles or even just replacing your regular inventory, how often and how much inventory should you order? So as a general rule of thumb, everybody knows that we need to be ordering 33 pieces a week. As soon as you are sponsoring somebody and you have somebody underneath of you, you're going to need to order 175 pieces to get your bonus check. Okay, 175 pieces to be a sponsor. And then once you hit trainer, you actually have to order 250 pieces a month to meet that that rank. So 250 pieces a month. So if you're somebody who's not ordering regularly and then you go to sign somebody on underneath of you, it's going to be really difficult to get that bonus check if you're not in the habit of ordering. Plus, we all know that the more you order, the more you have, the more you sell. We've got a couple of examples of that right here on our team. And I'm probably one of the biggest examples of it too, just because I wanted that free cruise the first year that I started. In October, November, and December, my first 3 months starting, I ordered over 500 pieces each month. So, you know, I don't think that any of us should put ourselves in a financial strain to be able to go too far and too big outside of our comfort zone. But I like how, you know, Patrick has said before on the calls, if you sell 25, order 33, right? Or even order 50. Because if you order those extra pieces, it's going to light a fire under your butt to sell them. Because when your money is tied up in that investment, you are going to move your butt to try to get that money back in your pocket. So ordering 33 pieces a week, and how much inventory should you order? So I honestly think that you should probably limit your orders to 33 pieces, 33 to 50 pieces if you can. The reason why I say that is because if you order 66 pieces on Tuesday, you're going to have a whole lot less of a variety than if you were to order 33 pieces on Tuesday and 33 pieces on Saturday. Think about how many hundreds of thousands of pieces that LuLaRoe does. I mean, sends out in a day. By the way, our company as a whole last weekend processed $35 million in sales last weekend. 35 million. Okay, that is crazy. So think about all of those items that went out at the beginning of the week. $35 million worth of clothing. So even if you order at 7 in the morning and you order at 7 in the evening, there's going to be a bigger variety in your orders than if you were to just place that one large order on Tuesday. And, you know, we're not paying shipping, except if you're expediting it. But if you're ordering regularly, you shouldn't have to be paying that extra money to expedite it because you're going to be having the regular orders come in. So getting it within the 3 days versus the 3 to 5 days isn't going to be such a huge deal. So why not split those orders up? And if you have to order a large amount in a day, break it up into 2 or 3 smaller orders. There's going to be hundreds of thousands of pieces going out between those two pools and packages. All right, so how do you build your inventory? So we talked about kind of not spending that money during the first 90 days and reinvesting it. We talked about where the money to build your inventory is going to come in. So what most of the leaders that I've watched their webinars recommend is that you slowly start to purchase between 2 and 3 in the style that you're adding in each size. So I would not debut it until you have at least 5 or more in that style. You can just kind of tuck it aside, or well, be saving up the money to order those pieces, or tucking it aside. If you actually order 2 and then 2 and then 2 and just kind of do that with each order that you're placing, so you're using your 50% to replace the inventory that you're selling, and then you are adding 2 in each size of that new style every single order that you're placing. Imagine the variety that you're going to have when you finally go to launch that item with 12 to 15 in each size. Size quantity versus style quantity. So, when you go and you look on a rack and you're looking for a medium skirt, if there's 2 skirts, you're probably going to be like, it's really picked over. They don't really have a lot to choose from. And you're probably going to go right over that skirt. But if there's 10, 12, 15 in your size, and you're going to say, holy cow, they've got a lot of skirts here, and take a peek. So you're not going to feel as if it's picked over. So we definitely want to build our inventory slowly in regards to adding different styles, because we want to make sure that we've got 12 to 15 in each size, in each style, before we start to add additional styles. There are some leaders in the company, which I thought that this was crazy. Like Lisa Jones in the summertime has 25 to 30 in each size maxi skirt. I was like, holy mackerel. I've never carried that many maxi skirts. She does 15 to 20 Randys in the fall and winter. She tends to do upwards of 20 Irma in the fall and winter as well. And then, so the maxis, again, are really like her big hitter in the summer. But so we can definitely increase our size quantity as it changes from season to season. And then during the spring and summer, she actually drops down to only like 5 Randys in each size, just because those aren't big hitters in the fall and winter. She recommends that you carry 5 to 10 Monroe in each size at minimum. I carry 10 Monroe in each size currently, and I feel like that's doing pretty good for me. But you want to make sure that you're able to give your customers a selection. If you find that you're not selling an item and you're saying, my perfect tees or my Nicoles are really just sitting around, take a look and go through and see how many you have in each size. If you've got 5, 7 each size, that actually might be the problem. So you're thinking, I don't want to order more Nicoles because they're already not moving for me. But oftentimes, just by adding those additional pieces in and getting up to 12 to 15 in each size, you'll start to move them. Because when people come to look at the new, they actually buy the old because they're not thinking that it's picked over anymore once you get new eyes on that inventory. All right, so I probably skipped like 800 million gajillion things that I said at Inspire. Trying to think if there's anything like really important that I feel like I should talk about. Questions, concerns. We could just kind of do more of like a question and answer format, and we can all kind of pipe in if anybody has some ideas or things that they want to toss around.
I took my sticky note off so you can see my very tired face.
Where are you? Hold on. I don't even see you. Oh, there you are.
So a couple of things.
I have to show you this picture really fast.
What?
I have to show you this picture really fast. When I saw your thing, this is the coaches webinar today, and I took a picture of the screen. As you can see, I have a chip clip with a piece of paper over the camera just so that Deanne couldn't see my face.
Yeah, I do. Well, I do it because, do you guys ever see the show The Goldbergs? Has anybody ever seen that? All right. Well, very, very quickly, it's a story. It takes place in the 80s in Pennsylvania, and it's like this very, very funny, sarcastic family. And the father, when every day he gets home from work and like he's 2 steps into the doorway, the door shuts behind him and he drops his pants and he's like in his underwear for the rest of the day. That is my family, minus me. So I have to be very careful when I'm on a webinar of who might be sitting behind me completely hanging out for everybody to see. So anyway, going back to inventory, at Miami Inspire, they suggested, they didn't get into like how much should I carry and all of that, but there was one little blurb that caught my eye, which was that if you're ordering on consecutive days, don't order the same style and size, because there's still a good chance that you might get duplicates that way. And I've also found that some of the styles that might be less popular, like I carry Anna's, they tend to sell pretty well for me. But even if I order, like I might order 2 on a Monday, and then by Friday I'll order 2 more, let's say in a size small, I'll get the same ones. I think because it's not as popular, people aren't ordering them as often. So I've now learned that I have to spread my Annas out a lot more, or else I'm going to end up with a ton of duplicates.
I didn't say, which I said in the Talk and Inspire, which I think most of you guys know, but never ordering, even when you're adding, I said when you're adding new inventory to add maybe 2 or 3 at a time in those orders, but never order more than 3 to 4 in any particular size or style combination, only because that's going to decrease the chance of duplicates. Now, that being said, now that I'm starting to do more in-homes with the bus, 2 pop-ups right before the Inspire tour, it just so happened that I kind of experienced that phenomenon where somebody had something on and then somebody said, oh my gosh, I want that too. And so I really encourage you guys to take your duplicates. I was also watching the webinar from Lisa Jones to kind of prepare for the talk. And she was saying that anything in excess of 3 she takes out. And so she'll take 3 or less of duplicates. And that's because once somebody else sees somebody else rocking it, then they want it. So I've definitely been doing that and been selling more duplicates. So duplicates, that they're not always a bad thing, but definitely ordering a smaller amount in each style and size is going to decrease the risk of that. So I know that unfortunately, you guys didn't get to go to leadership when they were curating. And again, the people at the Inspire Tour kind of heard me say this, but we put on aprons, we went to a big table, and they had 8 azure skirt patterns. We might have started out with 8 azure skirt patterns, but for a good while, we only had 4 patterns on the table. And so you might have a floral, a stripe, a geometric, and another floral. And you're taking 1, 2, 3, 4, popping it in the bin. But then somebody else is next to you taking 1, 2, 3, 4, and popping it in the bin. So those 2 that were the same are sitting are right next to each other. And then, you've got another row over here. So as people are pulling them out, you could potentially have 3 that are the same that kind of get grouped together. But, the way that they're trying to do it, they're just pulling 1, 2, 3, 4, popping it in, 1, 2, 3, 4, popping it in. So there could be potentially only 4 styles in one huge big tub. So when I say tub, I'm going to actually show you my totes. And this is what they use. They actually use this kind of thing right here. And there's a table, and the table is slanted, and they just have these things stacked and stacked and stacked. And so it's going to be on the table, like right next to you at a slant, and you're just filling that one up, popping the top on, boom, it goes away. Pulling another one up, and you're doing the same thing. So now, again, at the beginning, we did have 8 different patterns, but as those ran out, as soon as you got down to, I can't remember if it was 3 or 4, but you couldn't have less than 3 or 4. Once you did, you had to stop, and you had to go grab a new print and add that to the table again. So that's kind of how things were curated and how you have the potential of getting so many duplicates if you were to order 12. Because if you order 12, you're going to get 3 of 4 different prints, and that's it. So if you're adding a new inventory item, you definitely don't want to just right off the bat say, give me 12 or 15 in each size and add that. Even if you have the money, you want to add it slowly over time. Oh, I see that you typed that now. I also saw a big increase in my sales when I hit the number 600. So I know that, Rachel, you were recently trying to increase your inventory numbers up even higher after listening to Syra and Vanessa's boot camp. I think the first time, though, as a new consultant that I saw that large increase was at 600. And every single time I dropped below 600, I would have a crappy sale. And then once I got my numbers back over 600, I could see things start to pick up again. Lisa Jones in her webinar said she didn't start to see that major increase in sales until she hit 700. I think that most people now say, Vanessa and Syra recommended more, but I think that most people say about 1,000 pieces is, I hear a lot of leaders say that they carry. So where are you at now, Rachel? Are you still trying to build, or did you?
Oh no, I don't have any room for anymore. I've got, if you count all of my leggings and solids and duplicates and all that, I'm probably at 1,400.
Good for you, though.
But I don't know where to put it. And then I just found out today that I am not allowed to run a home-based business that drives traffic to my home.
Well, technically, like, we're not supposed to either, per the zoning, commission.
Like my town specifically says, no home-based business that drives traffic.
So our city says that you can have a home-based business, but nobody should be able to look at your home from the outside and say, oh, that's a business right there. So if you are a bookkeeper, you can have a sign in your front yard that says, like, Jenny's Bookkeeping Service. So I can't advertise my LuLaRoe business. And it can't be above and beyond what would be a normal, like, delivery. So UPS, they're in our neighborhood, once a day. But if I had, like, multiple deliveries per day to my home, then somebody would say, why does that girl get so many deliveries?
Right.
We had somebody who did porch pickup in our neighborhood, or not in our neighborhood, in our city. And the residential zoning people actually came to her home and gave her a ticket because she had so many porch pickup people. This lady, she bought, I don't know, like $50,000 in inventory just last month when I looked at the field report. So she buys a ton of stuff. Obviously, she's selling a ton of stuff. But it was a little bit different for her because she had, God died. Okay, let's talk about that later. She actually rented a home that was her, that was her showcase. So people came there to that home solely to see her inventory. Like, it was just a home she rented for LuLaRoe. It was the weirdest thing. And so she had so many people coming there. And so, people realized that it was just a home that she was strictly using for business, not for anything else. It wasn't for personal use. And I'm sure that they reported her. But unless you're causing, like, a major upheaval here, then you're not going to get in trouble. With my bus, that's actually an issue because they could actually come and get me or give me a ticket, because when you're having a home-based party, nobody knows that there's retail transactions taking place behind that wall, right? But if I'm in a driveway and my bus says, it's very obvious that retail transactions are taking place at a home. So I decided not to wrap my bus for that reason. Josh, can you take her? But yeah, I wonder if your people are just more strict.
They are.
So maybe you just have to, like, Linda eventually said, no more porch pickup, I'll just ship to you. So she decided to do free shipping for anybody local who requested porch pickup. That stinks. Trying to think of what else about inventory. I really wish I had not thrown my notes away at the Virginia Beach Inspire Tour. Brandy, you have anything to add?
I don't think so. I can't think of anything that you didn't go over.
Okay. Anybody else? Advice? Questions?
Well, I will say one thing from watching Syra and Vanessa's boot camp for people that are trying to build their inventory. I know there were a lot of people that got frustrated when the warehouse was stuck and people weren't getting packages. But the idea behind that was that if you place a 33-piece order, or now 30 because they've dropped the minimum, every other day, then you will never be without inventory. And if the warehouse gets slowed down, it just won't matter. I have boxes. I haven't done it this month just because I'm running out of room, running out of money. But I have boxes of back stock because I just can't photograph it all and put it all up. So I have everything is sorted by size. So I have like a big box of mediums, a big box of large, double extra small, whatever it is. And then if somebody says, hey, I'm looking for a such and such, and I'll say, oh, let me see, I just got a box in. They don't know that stuff's been sitting here for a month, just unphotographed. It's just never been seen.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that too. Because if you're waiting on a 200-piece order, like, what about that train accident with UPS? Or if your box gets damaged, or there's a storm, or LuLaRoe makes a mistake. Like, if you're waiting on a 200-piece box that's lost, maybe I would be worried that that's going to be a little bit detrimental to my business. Mm-hmm. But if you're missing a 33-piece box, and you know that in another 2 or 3 days, another 33-piece box is coming, and then 3 days later, another 33-piece box is coming, it's not going to be such a huge hit. Right. It's not going to be the end of the world when something happens to that one missing box.
And there's a whole chart that they've done where like they talk about typical ordering versus ideal ordering, and I can send it to you if you don't have it. And it's just basically like a life cycle, like with little arrows, and you can see if you do this, then this, then this, then this, and then this is what happens, versus if you're ordering every other day. You know, like even right now, I look at the holiday. My holiday box, like so many other people, got a tracking number last Thursday, and it didn't move until yesterday. So it went from UPS had it on my calendar for delivery on Wednesday. It's not coming now until the 29th. It is what it is. I have plenty of inventory to tide me over until then. Like everybody wants some sparkly goodness, and they'll get it, but they won't get it till next week.
Yeah. So the last slide, I don't know if you guys saw this, but where did it go? The last slide was actually, but my business will fail without a capsule collection. So, you know, I talked about that because October, you know, I launched and everybody wanted Halloween leggings, but I joined too late to get Halloween leggings. There was still plenty of time for people to be able to order and get them out, but I didn't have them. So everybody was coming to me as soon as I launched saying like, do you have Halloween? Do you have Halloween? I'm like, no. And then Christmas comes around. And I didn't get any Christmas. And so that kind of stunk too, because everybody was like, don't you have Christmas leggings? And I was like, no, I just wanted to cry. Because I was in the first 30 days, you know, my business with Halloween, the first 90 days with Christmas. And so of course I was still definitely in that victim mindset. And I was like, this is horrible. Like, how do they think I'm going to succeed when all these other people have like one up on me because they had this amazing stuff to drive business? Now, yeah, they did have some amazing stuff to drive business, but I was still able to kind of pull it out somehow. In January, hit trainer and have $18,000 in sales in that first J month and the third full month of my business. And so I like capsule collections just like everybody else, but I am walking living proof that even if you don't have 2 capsule collections in a row, it is not going to make or break you, because the most important thing is to have inventory that you can sell 365 days a year. Because we're not just selling at Christmas. We're not just selling at Halloween. We're selling 365 days a year. And I have a ton of Valentine's leggings. So, you know, you get crazed. And so I remember being at work and I was trying to order Valentine's and it wouldn't go through. Josh was at home. He said, it's not going through. Come to find out, like 4 orders of Valentine's leggings went through. We had like a couple grand in Valentine's leggings. I was trying to like sell them and give them away to all of my team, but a lot of them didn't get them. So I was able to give some of them away, but I still have Valentine's leggings in my closet and they're not doing anything for me in my closet. But I think that I was so like overly aware of this capsule collection that I was going to like land it and I was going to get it after not getting those first 2. And it really didn't do me really great things in my business. If anything, it tied up a lot of my funds that are still in my closet today. And so I'd probably be a better person if I sat here and said I didn't do it, but I almost didn't order any elegant collection after, you know, I planned to talk about that. I was like, you know, maybe I shouldn't order any, just to show people that you don't need any of those capsule collections in order to still have a successful business. But I did. But yeah, so I just wanted to kind of mention that a little bit. There are usually two types of people in a capsule collection. The people who are complaining that they didn't get any, or the people who are complaining that they got them and they can't move them. Like, think about the Mommy and Me sets. I didn't get any Mommy and Me sets. There are people who went ballistic over Mommy and Me sets with Dot Dot Smiles and Nicole's and did not move, you know, all that inventory because they just got too much. So my recommendation for capsule collections is to try not to overbuy. Actually, just buy what you know that you can move. Be reasonable. Don't tie your money up too much in a capsule collection. Buy a small amount and then buy that 365-day inventory.
And know that even if you are very reasonable with your capsules collection, you may still be stuck with your Dot Dot Smile and Nicole's 6 months later because the patterns were hideous. But you didn't hear that from me.
I almost read your Turdma poem on stage. I was like, that would be like the ultimate example of everything it sells. And then I'd have to give some credit for her poem.
That's all right. I forgot. Yeah. That would have been funny. I wonder if people would have actually laughed.
It really does though. And again, I think now that I'm focusing on in-homes, there is so much stuff moving that's been on my shelves forever because I'm finally getting away from the same online people and having different people look at it. So I urge you, even if you're not doing in-homes, to try to get into businesses. This coming up Monday on December 5th, I'm going to a MOPS group. So, a Mothers of Preschoolers group. I think I had recommended that as somebody for you guys to reach out to and try to set up with groups in your area. So, all moms of childbearing age who want comfortable and, cute clothing, and then offer to give back as a fundraiser to them. So that's what I'm doing for them on December 5th. But yeah, finding different ways to just get people to look at that inventory that's not moving. But you already know that. But some of the Nicoles and Dot Smiles were not the bestest. It'll move though. You know it will, just like your Tridma.
Well, and I also, I know everybody's seen the pictures now with the fishnet stockings. But I actually ordered a bunch. I've ordered 30 pairs of fishnet stockings in a variety of sizes. And I'm going to sell, I'm going to just donate, not donate. I'm just going to give them as people buy solids. I'm throwing them in the bag.
Did you guys see that amazing picture of Amanda Zink and hers?
Yes.
She was rocking that out. If you guys didn't.
I have solids coming out of every corner in my house. And some of them are not such attractive colors, but I feel like even the mint green color is going to look great. Yeah, no, I thought she looked awesome in that. But even some of those colors that we say, oh, who would even buy this? I think once you put a pair of fishnets over it, it's just going to look cool. It's not going to feel see-through. It's not going to feel like you can see lumps and bumps. I don't know. I'm excited to try them.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I was never that fortunate that I got any solids. So every time when I'm serious, everybody's laughing about it. Ashley, every time I tell her, she's like, "Are you kidding me? I have 3 big bins full." Every time when I ordered leggings, except of when they started pairing them, that's when I started getting the solids in one size. But then they stopped it with the TC. So I literally have 4 pair. And even though me telling, oh my God, they're going to be, because they're really bright and nice colors, they're going to be so cool underneath the fishnet and all that. Those 4 I don't think they will ever move because I just have 4. You know what I mean? It's just so, it's kind of embarrassing to put up my little 4 solids. Like, look what I got.
Make outfits with them.
I can trade you some if you want. You could have some of my solids.
I'm serious. I may have to because I have prints.
You're frozen, Jamie.
I'm
But
frozen. Am I moving now?
Not for me. You're fine.
Okay. I have a million pairs of teals and turquoises.
Oh, I have that in one size.
No, I'm saying in tall and curvy. I have a ton, and I'd be more than happy to send them to you. No problem.
Okay, I may come back to you because I stink at that right now. And it came out and I was like, oh my God, that's so cool. And I was trying to look and I was like, yeah, I got 4. That's not going to happen.
But if you make outfits and then you make other outfits with skirts and create an album of just outfits, nobody's going to say, oh, she only has 4 legging outfits. She's just going to say, no, she's got 30 outfits put together. That's awesome.
But what am I going to do if 4 people want the blue and I just have 1?
We'll only put it in one photo.
Oh, okay. That's what I just want to double check because you said make different outfits.
We'll do your prints too if you had solid tops, just to make a whole album with outfits. But nobody's going to sit there and isolate the fact that you only have 4 solids.
True. That's very true. Because I was trying. I was like, at least the 4 I have.
But Jamie, I'm local to her and I have enough so that she doesn't have to get them shipped.
Honestly, I may really have to hit you up because that's embarrassing with my little 4 solid TC I have.
You know what, though? I'm complaining, but at the same time, as I'm watching the boxes come in without them now, I worry about what's going to happen when they go.
Yeah.
That's the.
I mean, I know I have a while to go with my. No, actually, I just have teals and mints.
Were any of you guys around when solids weren't even made?
Or when
Hey,
there was a legging shortage in all sizes?
Yes, I remember I looked back through my old orders, and you know how you could write a note to the warehouse? And way back when I started, I was writing a note. I was like, please, please, please give me solid leggings. I need solid leggings. And now, like looking back, I'm like, oh my gosh, why was I asking for solid leggings? But we had none.
Right. No, you got solid leggings and they sold like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Because nobody there weren't. And then I remember when they announced, I think that I love having solid leggings. I didn't like the overabundance, but now that they're starting, they have eventually sold and now my numbers are trickling down. I think my biggest struggle with the solids is that I didn't need 10 different blues and 10 different reds and 10 different purples, 10 different greens. Like I would have loved to just had, blue, red, green, yellow, like, I don't know, just basics versus so many shades because I think it's online.
Or names for them. Olive number 1, olive number 2, olive number 3. So that consistently across the board, when a customer says, hey, is this Christmas red? Hey, I'm Jewish. I don't know. It's red.
I saw that thread on one of the consultant chats. It was like, share stuff that nobody would know about if they weren't a consultant. And it was like, what shade of red is this? Cherry red, fire engine red, Christmas red, like blood red.
Right.
How many different reds are there?
I actually bought a box of crayons now because of my different green shades I have and blue shades. That's the only colors I have in one size, green and blue in different kind of shades. And it's so difficult to actually take pictures and be like, okay, you put them next to each other, but still you take a picture and sometimes my cell phone takes worse pictures than my camera and I have to switch in between and I don't know.
That's why the outfits work so much better.
I was just going to say that.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I found. Once I started just putting them with an outfit, people didn't care what color the bottom was as long as it matched the shirt. They stopped asking.
Yeah. I guess that's the only benefit of having all the different shades though, because you could put them all in that like circle picture and then you could see the difference between all of the shades. But if you just have one or two, it's kind of hard to show that contrast in comparison to, the 6 other blues.
All right.
Well, and then I feel like you have to store them in the same order of your circle.
Yeah.
Because once I undo the circle, I'd be like, well, I don't know which one this was. Or maybe this one.
I wish you could individually order, you want OS printed leggings or you want OS solid leggings.
I don't think they'll ever give us that choice.
No.
Really?
I wish I could order no more mint leggings.
Mint
blue.
back in the day were people were looking for mint.
Send them my way. I have about 8,000.
Maybe that will happen again in the future, and then we'll all send them to you.
And heathered.
Yeah.
Them.
We'll send all the teals and turquoises to Jamie. Everybody write this down. All of the mints to Rachel. To Rachel. Red. I've got tons of one size red and coral. You can send those to me.
Hey, Michelle, I got a quick question. Recently at my in-homes, people have been complaining about the price of everything and that it's so expensive. How do you handle that? Do you say anything or you just kind of think they're cheap in your head?
I think that I would turn it around and get them to book a pop-up, because they may be financially struggling to pay for them. Because it's not. I think it's an affordable product, but
it is.
If you're wanting to get an Amelia or a Sarah or something like that, then that's something that's big. So if I was able to provide them the opportunity to get that for free, I think I would try to turn it around on that. I think that I loved how you wrote on your Facebook page how many hands touch, or not how many hands touch, but how many people are affected by, our products and how many people are employed. Talking about how many hands it touches. I think that when people know the story of LuLaRoe, we're not to be cliche, but they say, we're not just selling clothes. LuLaRoe is so much different than going and dropping $35 somewhere else. I feel that way, honestly, in my heart. I really feel that way. And I kind of explained that it's a little bit different than going into a big box store. You're buying from a small business owner, you're supporting a small business. But that being said, I would love to help you earn the course for free so that way you don't have to put out that money towards it. Why don't we get you booked and we'll see how many things that we can get for you. And I don't limit. Like I let them get a Sarah. I let them get an Amelia. And honestly, if they pick up, you go to a big box store and you have a coupon for something, or it's buy one, get one free, they're giving you the cheapest thing free. I always make it so that they're paying me for the cheapest and they're getting the most expensive free. Or if I'm giving them, I've been starting for my regular hostesses, or for my in-homes now that I'm doing, if they want to buy anything in addition, I give them 20% off so they can get their rewards and then 20% off of anything that they get. So like somebody the other day sold 37 items. So I gave them 70% off for the 7 since they didn't get to 10. And I gave that off them, the most expensive item instead of giving them 70% off a legging, to give them the bigger and better discount just to kind of help people. And I think that once you do that, then they're going to not mind so much coming back and ordering that piece from you the next time because you were so giving. I don't know if that answered your question, but.
No, it does. That's a good suggestion.
All right. Anybody else want to share anything or pick anybody's brains? Nope. Okie doke. Thank you guys for getting on. Your cute little doggy. Is it broken? What's going on?
Yeah, it's his ulna and radius are broken. It's out of alignment. She said it was a transverse fracture. I don't know fractures very well. Long story short,
name wrong. I don't know.
yeah, Kier took
Off the bed.
No, we were picking Tristan up from the co-op, and he was on the playground with Charlie, and a kid picked him up and dropped him. It's going to cost $2,500 to fix it.
Yes, surgery.
We've already.
Nicole, you might just need to go ahead and put them down.
I know.
Brandy Becker.
I'm not gonna lie. I thought that. I was like, damn, we could buy another Chihuahua for that much.
No, I'm just kidding. Charlie would not let you.
Tell Charlotte that.
I was like 6 months old and she was limping and we took her in and they said that she had a fracture, like an elbow fracture. I was like, who fractures their elbow? Come to find out, it was actually genetic. She had elbow dysplasia. She had something called an ununited Ankyneal process. And so there was no ball and socket joint. There was just a floating bone, like it had never fused. And so they said they'd have to go in and put pins and needles and to put the joint back together as a ball and socket, or else she'd have severe arthritis by the time she was 5. And so we decided to do like the invasive surgery, which was like over $3,000 to have the surgery. And then when they went in, the joint was too destroyed. Even after they had already done the bone graft, they couldn't fix it. So they just had to remove the piece of floating bone. So she's like 2.5 and she has severe arthritis now. But people actually like told me that. Brandy Becker, your cousin, Matt Garner, was like, dude, put the dog down. I was like, I'm not putting the dog down. I can't even believe you would suggest a thing. So
well, Nicole knew that I was kidding. Nicole knew I was kidding.
But honestly, I thought about it. I'm not gonna lie.
Mm-hmm.
He's really sweet, but he is just a dog.
I'm with you.
Heartless.
I am.
All of you.
Billy tells me that all the time. I'm used to it. Heartless.
Well, you gave your dog away.
We did, yes. It was the best decision I ever made. But now we're getting off topic now.
I know, I should have stopped the recording.